worst line of the debate, well, unfortunately, it's between two Hillary Clinton lines. I say unfortunately because I know that we seem to be not beating up on her, but picking on her, but for specific reasons that we're giving you. It's not because, oh, I kind of don't like Hillary Clinton, right? Bernie's my bro, right? Look, so here's two specific instances. One, when she said, I don't want to fight for this and let's be fair to her, say overwhelming change to healthcare. Like, that's not right. And first of all, Bernie Sanders came in and corrected and said, look, you keep saying, like, talking as if I'm going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and then start over.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear about that. I'm not getting rid of it at all. I like it. We're going to build upon it. We're going to make it much bigger and better by going to single payer. That covers everybody, right? And her response to that is, well, now trying to go for such big change would be too contentious. Well, look, politically speaking, again, it doesn't matter which side you're on in policy. That's a bad answer because that you're saying, hey, all you Democratic voters, I'm not going to really fight for your positions because it'd be contentious.
Yeah.
Right? It seems defeatist. It seems pessimistic. It doesn't seem hopeful. That's a bad corner to get painted into. That's the corner she got painted into in 2008. Again, here in 2016. So which then leads to, I think, the worst line of the debate. That was, I think, number two. Number one is video 16 here, because it really summarizes the entire problem with Hillary Clinton's campaign.
You know, we agree that we've got to get unaccountable money out of politics. We agree that Wall Street should never be allowed to wreck Main Street again. But here's the point I want to make tonight. I am not a single-issue candidate, and I do not believe we live in a single-issue country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's list all the reasons why that's a terrible answer. One, I want to get unaccountable money out of politics. Okay, you first. So you have all this unaccountable money, and you have all this accountable money, meaning we know that it's the big banks that gave it to you, and that's not that much better. Yes, if it was secret, it'd be worse. But you have all this money that's given to you by these giant donors who are looking for something in return. So that's also bad. So don't give me this like, oh, we agree. No, you guys don't agree. Bernie Sanders says get all that private money out of politics, all of it, right? And you say, well, only the dark stuff that isn't mine, but the Republicans. So that's a terrible, terrible answer.
Yeah.
And then, she went on to say, I'm not a single issue candidate. As Jimmy has pointed out, I'll give you more credit, Jimmy, fairly brilliantly. Well, what the subconscious message she's putting out there is, hey, I don't really care that much about any one topic, right? And when you do that, a lot of voters, as Jimmy pointed out, they're single issue voters. They care more about one thing than they do about the others. You're insulting all of them, and you're saying, I don't know why I'm in this race, right? And the reality is, the other subconscious message you're sending is, I am a single issue candidate. My single issue is Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. She's also purposely being misleading about money in politics and the impact it has on politics. It's not a single issue that Bernie Sanders is focused on. It's an issue that impacts every other political issue in this country. Why is it that we haven't really done anything about climate change in America? Anything real, right? It's because oil and coal own the politicians, right? So in America, we're still having a debate as to whether or not climate change is real or whether or not it's man-made. That's ridiculous. That is an influence of money in politics. Money in politics impacts everything else.
So, can I just say real quick, it's like if we had lost freedom of speech in this country, which luckily we haven't yet, right? And Bernie Sanders said, we got to get freedom of speech back, otherwise we can't talk about any of the other issues. And she responds with, well, I'm not a single issue candidate. I mean, freedom of speech. I mean, he keeps talking about that. Yes, because then you can't make any other comments about any of the other policies. And in this case, it's super ironic because the Supreme Court claims that the ability to bribe politicians is freedom of speech. No, that's freedom of money, right? And when they use that to bribe the politicians, they bribe them on every issue, not just on one issue.
Yeah, and I love that she's trying to make the case that, well, I think it's an artful smear to imply that receiving tens and tens of millions of dollars could make me change even a single number in a bill having to do with Wall Street, when, as Anna pointed out, we already know it gets hundreds of Republican politicians to say reality isn't real, science isn't real, I don't believe any of it.
And on the issue of even college tuition, I don't know if you saw the clip where Howard Dean was on Morning Joe Ball, and he was trying to defend Hillary Clinton on, and they made the point to her like, well, college students don't trust her when she takes all this money from colleges to give speeches. And Howard Dean says, that never happened. She doesn't take money from. Within 2 seconds, they Googled it. They got 2 colleges she took $500,000 from for 2 speeches. $500,000. That's more money my dad made in his whole life. She made in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right now, she's going to go work for the students against the colleges. No. So I don't know why I brought that up, but I wanted to say it.
That's a good stat.
But something you said made me think of that.
Okay,
Can I
okay.
make one more point about
Yes.
this overall campaign? So the overall, so we already know, we've delineated it and talked about why that thing about Hillary's a fighter, so you have to vote for her, because we all know that why that's a crazy thing. But the other thing is, Bernie is not electable, right? That he's too outside the mainstream and people are afraid of him and he's not electable. I went back and watched videotape of the debates and the news coverage from 2007. Do you know that almost every one of those candidates on stage said that Hillary Clinton is not electable in the general election? Do you know that Christopher Dodd stood on stage during that debate and said 50% of the American people have already said they won't vote for Hillary Clinton? I'm not saying anything we all don't know. This was all going on in 2007. Christopher Dodd said that. Barack Obama turned to Hillary Clinton at a debate and said, yes, I think the Republicans would rather run against you. That's why they keep bringing it up all the time. And obviously they would have, because they got their ass kicked by Barack Obama. So I just want to make those points that they try to make against Bernie Sanders was made in unison by all the Democrats in 2007 against Hillary Clinton. And now they're using those same attacks against Bernie. It's not going to work against Bernie. It worked against Hillary because it was real, because Americans don't like, 50% of America won't vote for her. She's not going to get independents or Republicans to cross over. Bernie will. And people already know everything they want to know about Hillary, and they don't like it.
Damn, Jimmy. You
Agreed.
tell him.
Okay.
Agreed. Man,
I
I
like
don't know
that.
about that Dodd thing. Jesus.
Yes, I saw the video of it today.
By the way, Chris Dodd, who then went on to become a lobbyist. Okay.
And Howard Dean, by the way, who is now an insurance lobbyist. Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh,
I did.
sorry. Of course you
It's-
know.
No, it's what's happened to Howard Dean is
Wow.
super sad.
He got his mind right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got his mind right, boss. I got my mind right.
Oh, that's so, God, that's so painful to hear. Yeah, I mean, the guy who was kind of Bernie Sanders back in the day has just been totally enveloped by the Washington bubble. I mean, he represents those companies. He comes on Morning Joe and shit like that, and is constantly shilling for they're not so bad.
But he wears a sweater instead of a suit coat, so he looks regular.
Right, and he's in favor of every establishment candidate. On top of that, he's giving speeches on behalf of Mujahideen al-Khalq. So this is a crazy Iranian group that we had on our terrorist list. But then it turned out they were doing terrorism against Iran. So Cheney and Rumsfeld took them off the terrorist list. No, keep going. If you're going to do terrorism against Iran, that's fantastic.
Wow.
Now Howard Dean's speaking on their behalf. Like, oh, what happened, Howard? What happened? Jesus Christ. But I mean, and then then Hillary Clinton has the temerity to turn around and say, money doesn't corrupt.
Ah!
Yeah, well, I got bad news for you.